Hi everybody, this is Rose Sharon, and I'm back again with another movie review. I just recently watched Night at the Museum, Rise of Kumanrah, and I love Night at the Museum. Don't get me wrong, it's actually one of my favorite franchises. First film was absolute perfection. Second one, at the Smithsonian, I had high hopes for, but it kind of irritated me, and it got on my nerves, and it just was a little bit cliche and was making money off of a huge cash cow, which the first film was. But the third movie, even though it wasn't so good as the original Night at the Museum, was a great way to end the franchise, I thought. And Robin Williams will always be Teddy Roosevelt to me. And it's actually a film that evokes both happiness and sorrow. And we see Teddy again in this version. It's animated. And I like the animation. The animation was extremely well done. But the script... yeah, the script was lacking. I mean, Nick Daly, I really like his character. And it has a lot of good takeaways from it. I'm not going to say what the movie's about because it's very straightforward and almost very lazily written, and there's almost next to no real conflict per se, and it seems like things are resolved a little bit too easily. But there are a lot of nags with this. There are tons of nags with this particular installment, and it didn't have to be made, and I liked it, but I didn't like it. It's somewhere in the middle. It's kind of meh in ways, but in other ways, like I said, the animation was outstanding. I thought the animation was absolutely beautiful. If they wanted to kind of revamp the whole NATM franchise, they could do that. But it would have to be better with the way they deliver the jokes, because a lot of the jokes were dad humor. I mean, worse than dad humor. It was very punny and kind of annoying with a lot of the dialoguing that was done, particularly with Teddy. And honestly, I wanted to like Teddy, but he monologued a little bit too much, and he rambled. Yeah, there is a scene where he actually calls himself out on rambling. I'm like, oh, this is really bad. But as far as ranking it, I would give it 3 out of 5, because it's, like I said, it's a passable film. It's okay, but it's not the best film out there. I think this was another Disney cash grab, capitalize on nostalgia kind of shtick that they have been doing and will continue to do for Generation Xers who grew up with it, or other generations of kids who love the original Night at the Museum and saw the trailer and thought, oh, this looks promising, and then were kind of disappointed. Their expectations weren't really met. My expectations were actually not high when I went in. I went in with a clean slate thinking, okay, maybe this will be somewhat good. And yeah, there were some good merits. Like I said, a lot of great takeaways. We got to see Octavius and Jedediah again, which I love them. Of course, all of our favorite characters. We only get to see the Easter Island head like a few times, and he only says my favorite lines like not even once. Just a little bit. But then they introduced a side character, kind of a toady to Kumanrah, Seth, and I don't know why, but Seth was my absolute favorite. I mean, he was great. I thought maybe make a whole movie about Seth, but unfortunately they didn't. He was more of a hindrance than a help, but I freaking love Seth. I mean, he's a great character. Just the fact that they proved that dangerous things come in little packages, which I can adhere to and admit to, and and tout, and confirm. But I give it a thumb, at least a thumb. because it's not bad enough to garner no thumbs at all. But it's just like I said, it's like Disney saw an opportunity to make a quick buck and kind of hone in on nostalgia's sake. And granted, there's some great things about this, but it misses the mark. The writing, I mean, Sean Levy, come on, what was your problem? You could have written so much better dialogue for this. I mean, Sean Levy is a great director, and I was a little bit disappointed with his lack of really excellent quotable lines here, and it seemed like he was just sticking to catchphrases and buzzwords, and I thought, we've come to this. It's sort of like, I remember and I know this is a completely different franchise, but it it was the latest iteration, or I should say the latest foray into Rick and Morty, when they're doing a narrative thing, and Morty turns to Rick. They're doing a radio show, and Morty turns to Rick. He says, the producers want you to say wubba lubba dub dub. He's like, I'm not saying that. We're not prostitutes. And I'm like, yep, we're not sellouts. Actually, no, I was like, we're not prostitutes is what I was thinking in my head. Like, but he said, we're not sellouts. He could have said prostitutes. It would have made so much more sense. It's like, yeah, you're selling yourselves, literally. You are, you are people of ill repute. You are gigolos for your trade. But that's what I felt. I mean, I think the characters just feel like puppets and mouthpieces, and they're sticking words in their mouths. And Sean, it made me upset. It really did. I thought, we've come so far beyond that, but no, just stick with the cliches, stick with the formula, because that works apparently. So, expectations undermined disastrously, but beyond that, this had a lot of good moral takeaway, I thought. And in the end, it was a happy ending. But what I really want to see, and I don't know if they're going to do it, but this is kind of paving the way toward an animated series. If they do indeed an animated series, I don't know how they would do it, but it would be interesting to see, because we could see more of that just absolutely gorgeous animation style, which I really like in this iteration of Night at the Museum. But it wasn't what I expected. Well, it was what I expected, but just less so. And the quality mark, it missed the mark on quality. And it should have been more about less quippy lines that are cringeworthy. And a lot of it dealt with very modern day things coming out of characters' mouths from ancient history. Which, I mean, I've seen that done, but with this movie, it just did not work, unfortunately. And I liked some of Joan of Arc's dark humor. I thought that was really well done, but some of the things that she said were just annoying. I mean, a lot of the characters just came across as just straightforwardly obnoxious. I'm gonna say it. I mean, I'm probably the only person thinking this, but like I said, as far as grading it goes, I'll give it a single thumb up, because like I said, animation above all, character movement, the fluidity, transitions were absolutely great. They were terrific. And then there's one character I thought that was completely unnecessary. The boss that they had, I just wanted to throttle him. I'm like, oh, you're just an out and out nasty shell of an amoeba. You're not even an amoeba. I don't even know how you exist. You're just a parasite. I don't like you. I didn't like that character. I don't even remember his name, but I just thought he was unnecessary and just there to to kind of antagonize Nick, which Nick Daly didn't deserve that. He deserved so much better, but he was just trying to prove to this character who could care less about him and just undermine him with words. It just, you know, he was annoying. Let me just put it that way. He was just annoying. But beyond that, if you're a fan of Night of the Museum, like me, you're gonna be disappointed. I'm just not gonna sugarcoat it. You're going to be disappointed, but you're gonna be happy that you got to see all your favorite characters once again, including some new characters that are thrown in. But what I recommend Night of the Museum fans watch this. I mean, if you want to see some good animation and get a good tutorial, as well as how not to tell a story and how to literally make your audience groan and get kind of bored, because I was getting bored. I mean, it moved quickly, but I was bored. So maybe on that was all that was left to take away from it, but that's all I have to say. Until next time, hello, Pastor.